Hi everyone, how are you doing? It's Amanda. Today is the 1st of September 2020 and it is a Pisces full moon. So I thought, what can I do for today? And I've decided to do a channeling of two brilliant lights who left our planet over the last few years, few decades actually in Diana's terms. Princess Diana, who died 23 years ago this year. My goodness. I mean, I remember it literally like it was yesterday. And the devastation that we all felt, I certainly felt. I think I cried for a week. I literally cried for a week. I was on holiday in Spain and I cried for a week. I was inconsolable. Anyway, I've said all that before. And then we're also going to be channeling Michael Jackson. And they had a friendship in life. So we're going to ask them about that. I've never even attempted to do this before, which is to channel two souls at once. I usually just do one at a time. And the only way I can describe it is put it this way, I'm sitting here hanging on to grounding crystals. Literally, the vibration is off the scale. I'm even feeling a little bit shaky. I might have to eat something on this video. I've got an oat bar here. It is so high, I'm struggling to hold it. And in fact, I think what I might do is, before we say anything, I'm just going to channel through the energy of both of them individually so you can feel the difference. And then it's almost like I'm sharing it and you can hold it with me. Okay, I'm being shown like a huge, great big parachute that needs to be held down by lots of different people so we can bring this energy in, because I'm struggling to do it on my own. So breathe. Let's do this together. So the first one we'll bring through is Princess Diana. I'm just going to light some incense. I always tell you that I'm lighting incense because people say they can see smoke going across the screen. And that's usually what it is, although you also can see spirit sometimes in my videos, whether that be in the shape of orbs or whatever. I actually just took a photograph of myself, just put it on Facebook just to alert people that I'm doing this. And admittedly, the sun was coming through the slatted blinds, but in the photograph, you can see an orb on the top right corner, and then a really unusual one on the bottom as well, which had like a geometrical shape. Maybe that was Michael's, I'm not sure, because it felt more galactic in nature. Anyway, stop babbling. Let's just try and bring them through and ground this. Are you ready? I want to repeat, are you ready? Okay, let's do this, guys. Let's do Princess Di first. So no words, it's just going to be 30 seconds, a minute, I don't know. Then we'll bring Michael through, then we're going to start talking. And I've already made notes because I have an idea of what they want to be talking about. Okay, so let's do Princess Di first. We all know what she looks like. I can't move that beautiful picture because if I do, it's going to fall down because it's not in a frame yet. But yeah, there she is. You all know what she looks like, the most photographed lady in the world probably. Okay, Princess Diana, 1st of September. Could you please just come through me so that people can feel your energy? Let's just bring her energy through. Princess Diana. Put your feet down on the floor, ground yourself, put your roots down. And she's coming in like this beautiful, I'm seeing a rose. I know I've got roses, but I'm actually seeing a cream coloured rose. She's presented herself as a cream coloured rose to me. So that's what I'm focusing in on. And let's just share that energy now to you all. Princess Diana, let her energy into your heart. Let yourself feel her energy, however it wishes to manifest. She's giggling at me and she's saying, this is fun. Okay. All right. So she's just stepping now to the left. I'm now seeing her in a cream coloured suit. It's not white, it's a cream coloured suit. Seems to be something to do with the colour cream. It's beautiful coloured cream. Ivory, she's saying. Ivory. Okay, she says, I learnt that from all the designers that I worked from. They're very particular at getting the colour right. And she says, you know that too, Amanda. Okay, so yes, ivory, she's saying. All right, it's an ivory suit. Okay. Now, so she's stepping to the left. Let's now just bring through Michael's energy. He's coming in slightly shy. He's got his eyes down. Come on, Michael, come on in. Okay, join the stage, as it were. Okay, so Michael Jackson, let's just feel his energy. So sweet. He's sitting down. He's not standing up. He's sitting down. He's cross-legged. He's a bit like hunched up, but it's more like it's like a childlike pose, but it's very sweet, very innocent. And now he's sitting up, right? So you can feel his heart energy. Just tune into his heart energy. Okay. All right, he's now getting up. He's standing beside her. I'm hearing the song Ebony and Ivory living together in perfect harmony, which I think is a Paul McCartney song. But it's also a reference to black and white, living together in perfect harmony. Michael being black, a black man, and Diana being the white English rose. You know, she came in as that ivory rose. Okay, so we've got them both here. Beautiful. Right. Yes, that's better. I can do this work now. I've shared the energy. Brilliant. We're all holding this now. Let's get to it. Where to begin? Maybe just with a slight little bit of coffee. Let's just have an enjoyable chat with them both. But I also know they're going to be talking about some quite challenging subjects, but we'll do it in as higher vibe way as we can. Yeah, the nod, the mug is a nod to Michael, of course it is. He was a little bit, he's not at all sniffy, but he was like, I don't know whether he liked coffee. I felt like he was trying to push me towards something like green tea, but I hate green tea, so I'm having coffee. It's grounding, I need it. Okay. Where should we start? Let's just start with, I'll tell you the topics that we're going to be talking about. Maybe that's going to help me break this video in. We're going to touch on child trafficking and child abuse, okay? Not just in terms of what they knew or what they didn't know, and the help that both of them are giving from a higher realm to bring the truth into our world of what has been happening for many years. So that's a biggie. Diana in particular also wants to talk about landmines, but not the work that she did when she was alive. She wants to talk about the mines that we effectively all put in our neighbourhoods based on our consciousness. And then other people can tread into that energy and implode. Maybe that is where we should start. But I feel as though I also just want to introduce them as a couple, as it were, and why they're here together. So let's do that to start, because otherwise it's sort of like going in with the really heavy stuff. Let's work our way up to that. So here's a lovely photograph, I think from the 80s. Not quite sure what the date is, but this is when he met her. She was also with Prince Charles at the time. And it's a really beautiful photograph, isn't it? There's also this one here. I just printed these out. You can really see there was a close connection and kinship with each other. a familiarity, that they're both saying. A familiarity and an ease with each other. And I'm just going to ask them, and we'll see who wants to speak. I'll preface who's talking so you know, in terms of their relationship. So let's just see, who would like to go first? So Diana and Michael, would you like to tell us anything about the connection that you two have? So Diana is the first one to speak. She's saying that they both had a love of life. They both had, this is interesting, they both knew at a soul level that they didn't have a long life. Now she's saying we weren't conscious of that when we were human beings walking on the planet, necessarily. I mean, it might have been something they were sort of aware of, but pushed to the back of their mind. I'm feeling Michael particularly did that, didn't ever feel as though he was going to make old bones, as it says. But certainly to soul level, she's saying it's a bit like when you meet a soulmate. There's a knowingness, just that you've known somebody before. So she said there was an instant connection between the two of them, and a soul knowingness is what she's saying, linking into soul tribe, soul family. Shared connection then in terms of love of life, laughter. You know, I mean, look at that photograph. They're both having a bit of a giggle there. They're both having a giggle. They're both enjoying each other's company. She's also saying her energy coming through is quite motherly here. It's almost as though she sees Michael absolutely as her peer and her equal, but she knows that this is a sensitive subject that she's talking about, so it's like she's wanting to lead the conversation at this point. She's saying they both came from troubled childhoods, and they both were born into dynasties. Hers was already a dynasty that was established. His was a dynasty that he was going to create in the Jacksons. In their own way, both almost... royalty is the only word that I can use to describe it. You know, it's the only word I can use to describe it. So both born into these dynasties that would become a bit like, well, obviously she was born into becoming a member of the royal family, but the Jacksons as well, this energy of them being elevated somewhat in American society stroke consciousness, a bit like the Kennedys, you know, these iconic families that go through the generations. But Michael in particular being the flame that ignited it and made it as big as it is today, and it will continue, she's saying. So both having this energy of coming from almost like dynasty families, both coming from troubled childhoods, both finding solace in loneliness. What I mean by that is both finding life lonely at times when they were on the planet, and so finding comfort in each other, finding solace in each other, being able to understand each other. She's also just saying, I liked him. I just liked him. He made me laugh, and I loved his music. I loved the essence of who he was. I could see his goodness. I could see the work that he was doing, all of which was humanitarian in nature, and I felt as though I found a kindred spirit. She's saying it's a shame that they didn't get to spend more physical time together in terms of actually meeting up, but they did share many phone conversations, which I know are documented. Okay, let's go to Michael now, and what you feel about this relationship or connection that you had with Diana then and now, Michael. He's saying it's still very much now. He says that our connection has grown in spirit. We are closer than ever. It's as though we started off our friendship on the earth plane, but have continued it where we are now. And that he's showing me both of them with their heads together. So it's almost as though we put our heads together to try to help the situation around the world. So they have this combined interest stroke mission in terms of helping the world's children. Both did that when they were alive, but both are continuing that in spirit. It's interesting. Michael's saying about Diana, he's saying she's a good guide. She's a good guide. I keep wanting to say, and this is my perception of what I'm just witnessing in terms of the energy between these two, there is a maternal type energy with Diana. I mean, we know that. She was like the world's mother in many ways. She had that beautiful maternal energy. And he seems to benefit from that. But I don't want to say that she mothers him, because that's not true. There's definitely a, for want of a better word, chemistry between the two. It's like a flirty, playful energy. It's the same sort of flirty, playful energy that I think Diana has with a lot of male energies, similar to the connection I felt that she has with George Michael, for example. So it's just, but it's very playful. It's actually, it's more innocent than maybe with George. I wanted to say. Okay. So yeah, it's just playful banter, but there's like a flirtation. I mean, she was quite flirtatious. Do you mind me saying that, Diana? She's saying, no, I perfected that art. And she's showing me the, looking from beneath the fringe and all of that. She said, I did know how to play people in life. She said, and I was an outrageous flirt. She says, it's fine that you say that about me. She's now saying we both flirted with the media as well in our life, and it cost both of us our lives. Now, what do you mean by that? Okay, what she's showing me is an out-of-control juggernaut. An out-of-control juggernaut that once you start playing with the media, initially you think you have control over it, but very soon you realise you have none, and that they control you. And to have one's life lived out in the media is, she's saying, a massive intrusion of the soul. She says it's a very fine balancing line, because if you're in the public eye, you need to, and you have initiatives and projects and good works that you wish to do, you need publicity, and you need people on your side. But she's saying people have a right to know certain things about you. If you are very high profile, such as I was, a member of the royal family, but they don't have the right to know everything. And she says, I hold my hand up. She's putting her hand up. She said, I'm putting my hand up to the fact that I didn't play that deck of cards well. She's just shown me a deck of cards, and it's like she didn't play her hand as well as she would do now if she were to come back. She said, I would do it very differently now. She's also saying that towards the end of her life, when she started to get involved in more, for want of a better word, political campaigns, but she doesn't like the word political in many ways, because she says, I wasn't trying to be political, I was a humanitarian. She's saying we were both humanitarians, we both are still humanitarians, but humanitarians by nature have to get involved in subjects where politics has put in its dirty paw. She's using that expression, has put in its dirty paw. And so you get put into a certain bracket with that. She's definitely alluding to the landmine work that she was doing before she died. And we will get to also the links, the work that she was doing to try to protect the children. Okay. Michael, have you got anything you'd like to say with regard to the media? I mean, in many ways, it's probably all in your song, isn't it, that you've written? Tabloid Junkie is the song that I'm alluding to. What were you feeling when you wrote that song, Tabloid Junkie? That's interesting. I was thinking he was going to say anger, but he didn't. He hasn't said anger. He said frustration. He says complete and utter frustration. With the way that I was being misinterpreted, being chastised, being judged, being wrongly accused. Again, like Diana, he's putting his hand up and he's saying, I realise now in spirit that some of the way that I behaved in life gave people good reason to suspect me. So he's talking here about children, you know, and the fact that he was always around children. Now, I've covered all of this in other videos with him, so I'm not going to go back over old ground. But let's just see if he wants to add anything to what's already come through with regard to that. Okay. He's saying people were not able to see the world through the eyes that I was looking at the world. And he says, I was looking at the world through eyes of innocence, not through the eyes of perversion. He says there are many perverted eyes in the world that look upon an innocent child, for example, in a certain way, and want them for ulterior motives. He says, I was never one of them. But because I was around children so much, then I can see in retrospect how when the accusations came forward with regard to my nature, that they were able to make the mud stick. Would you have done it differently if you came back again? He's saying you can't say that because, this is interesting, he's saying to have done it differently would mean that I would have to come back with different eyes. I would have to come back with eyes that see wrongdoing and suspicion and evil in situations and in people, and being able to see through eyes where I could look at somebody and see what I could get or what I could make. And he says, I would not want to have those type of eyes. I'm proud of the vision that I had in my life, which was to be able to look through the eyes of a child and see their innocence and see the good in the world. I always believed in the good of the world. I still do. I believe in the goodness of man, and I believe in the goodness of this planet. But what is it going to take to shake them up? And he's looking at Diana as he says that. He's also looking to her and saying, how can we help? How can we change the vibration on Earth to one whereby people are able to look through eyes and just see beauty and love and not want to taint it, own it, disturb it, spoil it, pervert it? How do we get to that point? He says, I believe that God has a master plan, and I believe in the godliness within each person. And I believe and I can see that more and more are turning towards, and I'm hearing the word Christ, okay? Turning towards their own Christed energy within. Okay, I'm now just being shown a table, like a white table, and they're both sitting down at it. So they're just sitting down, and Diana, bless her heart, is like pouring from this teapot 2 cups of tea. Michael's got this thing against caffeine for some reason today. Maybe he always was, I don't know. But he's got a mint tea. She's got a English tea. She's smiling at me, and she's also just pushing a cup towards you and me. She's saying, sit down, let's share some tea. It's almost like an energy of sit down, let's put the world to rights. Yeah, Michael's saying, yeah, let's do that. Okay. She's saying, have we got people here with ears that are willing to listen and with hearts that are open to receive a new way and feet that are ready to do the walking? Are we ready to be there for each other and our children? Now, before I go on, I'd like to just preface something here by saying that what I'm witnessing here and what I felt earlier, knowing I was going to channel these two, was the fact that it struck me that both are beautiful examples of unity consciousness. Both were humanitarians, and both effectively were about unity consciousness. What I've noticed, for example, with the Michael Jackson energy recently, within some parts of the spiritual community, and this is particularly parts of the spiritual community who maybe are interested in or invested in the QAnon type thing. I'm not personally, but you know, each to their own. I've said this before. But I've seen a couple of people start to now speak up on Michael's behalf and say, oh, well, of course he was always innocent. We always knew he was innocent. He was the one who was trying to save the children. Okay, he was one of the ones that was trying to save the children. And they're speaking up now, and many people watching this video spoke up for him decades ago, okay, believed it all along, didn't need to get behind a politically motivated campaign to be able to feel safe to say it. Michael's energy here, and I'm just going to ask him, okay, he's just shown he's washing his hands of all that energy. What he means by that is he does not want to be associated with any political party of either side. Okay, is there such a word as apolitical? I think there is. I think am I right in thinking apolitical means you're not affiliated to any one side? That's the context I want to use the word anyway. Okay. So when he says he's washing his hands, he's saying I'm coming to this subject clean. What he means by that is I'm not invested in any particular leader, any particular group, any particular anything other than just the children. Okay, it's only ever been about the children. And he's showing me that when he was alive, he was careful not to get associated or linked to particular political parties, you know, become like a champion for them. He's certainly been photographed when he was alive with political leaders of this day as well. But he's saying he wants to make it clear that he isn't linked to any particular side. He said, he's saying taking sides, interestingly, I was just shuffling these cards as I want to say this. He's saying taking sides leads to this. Okay, taking sides leads to this. This is the Eight of Swords. This is basically being trapped. It's separation consciousness energy, as I talk about on my channel a lot. It leads to separation because you've taken a side. So if you've taken a side, you're not with the other side. It leads to that energy. So yeah, he's just wanting to make that very clear. Diana is also wanting to make clear that she too does not want to be, it's like almost like she's just nodding her head saying, yeah, very good point, very good point. She said, I tried to say that when I was alive, but nobody really believed me, she's saying. Because this is interesting. She's saying, because not many people on the planet up to now have wanted to get involved with the really difficult stuff humanitarian type issues who haven't got some sort of invested interest. So if you come to these subjects with no vested interest, people are automatically suspicious of you. And she's shaking her head. She's showing me, and I've seen this piece of film, she's showing me herself when she was challenged on this, when she was, I think, walking through the landmines in Angola, and a reporter said to her something about, isn't this a political statement you're making? And she's showing me, and she's just basically saying, I just want to help. I just want to help. So they're both very much in that energy of making us realise that sometimes the people that get on board particular campaigns have got vested interests in it. They're also saying that some of the people that get involved in campaigns they never look at the long-term energy. They never look at the long-term prognosis or what needs doing long-term. They'll put some money into it for a certain amount of time, or the spotlight will be shined upon it. And they're also bringing the media into this because there's a reason to do so. But it's almost like the heart isn't in it. The heart's not in it in terms of following it through for life. Diana is bringing in the energy of Audrey Hepburn here. And she's showing me Audrey as an example of somebody who followed it through her whole life. So again, another humanitarian, she's saying. It's almost like I'm now being shown another seat at this table that we're sitting at with Audrey's name on. That's interesting. I don't know whether Audrey Hepburn ever directed films, but I'm being shown a director's chair. So whether she did, whether she didn't, I don't know. Maybe that's just a reference to films, but there's a place laid at this table for Audrey Hepburn as an example of somebody who followed through. Her whole life was dedicated to it. Oh, bless you, Diana. She's also talking about Elton John, who she's mentioned this before, Elton, who's obviously still alive on earth, and long may he be so. But again, there's another place at the table for Elton. She's saying, again, Elton John, a great example of somebody who hasn't got a vested interest in it. He just genuinely is wanting to help. So she's talking about the work with AIDS. Michael's chipping in here now. It's like they're bringing their friends to the table, but it's just energies of the friends. I'm not actually seeing the friends. So I'm seeing there's a place next to Michael for Elizabeth Taylor as well. Okay, because as soon as I mentioned AIDS, Michael's bringing in Elizabeth Taylor as well. Many good people. Michael's also talking about many unsung heroes. He's talking about the people in our societies who are there in the ghettos, who are there in the townships. I'm going to South Africa. He's also talking about the townships in Brazil, I don't know if that's the correct word, but very poor suburbs in particular places around the world. I know there's a special link with Brazil with Michael, so I'm feeling that. I'm feeling South Africa. I'm feeling some of the very poor ghettos in USA. And he's talking about the unsung heroes that walk amongst those streets and who try to do good work, and who do it for no reward, who don't do it for glory, who don't do it to get their name in the paper, who don't do it for some political motive to try and win particular ratings wars. They just do it for the good of themselves. He's saying those are the heroes. He says align with those people. Look to those people for leadership. They are the true leaders of our world, is what he's saying, because they're actually leading the people on the ground floor. I can't think of the right term. I know what he's trying to say to me. I'm just trying to translate it. They're the ones on earth sweeping up all of these difficulties and challenges and trying to help. They're the heroes. They're the leaders. He's saying that's what true leadership looks like. Okay, he's quite strong about that. Okay, right, Michael, let's go straight to where you were born then, your country, USA. Lots of troubles at the moment in USA, lots of fighting. And, certainly from my perspective, just witnessing it from across the ocean, it's almost like every day there's something else in the news. And I'm like, oh my God, sending prayers to the USA, because it's really volatile. People are at each other's throats, it seems to me. And before I ask Michael, I'm just going to say this, that over the weekend, Deepak Chopra put a post on his Facebook page. He's got millions of people that follow him, and he didn't say anything. All he said was, make sure you register to vote. I have never seen such awful vitriol of people commenting on the post from both sides, from Democrats and Republicans, slamming each other, being rude, abusive, so much hate. And this was on Deepak's page, who is a spiritual teacher who's trying to teach about unity consciousness. Michael's saying he's another one who's seeing it through. He's seeing it through. His whole life is devoted to his path and trying to help people to see that we need to live in unity and peace with each other. But yet people who are following his page for to try and do that and become better people, you've literally just got to, I'm just being shown light the litmus paper, and it's like everything goes up. So Michael, what would you like to say about just the state of your country, your birth country? What message would you like to give for the American people that are watching? Any hope, anything you want to say? Let's just see what he wants to say. Okay, he wants me to pull some cards. Okay, I'm going to pull some cards. He's wanting me to pull some cards because he's literally almost like shaking his head. He's like, oh, brother, I don't know where to start. There's a real sadness within his heart for what he's seeing going on in the USA at the moment. And that is not a political statement. That is just a statement of the way people are behaving to each other. Interestingly, we've got the Emperor on the bottom of the deck, okay, which is usually the sign of the leader. It's also linked into law and order, structure, rule. He's saying people are losing respect for the fact that society needs to have some form of structure and law, and that law needs to be respected. He's saying that this isn't a reference to Donald Trump. This is a reference to anybody in positions of power in our world. He's saying because the old systems are crumbling, which is due to ascension. Michael always knew that this was coming. There's an awakening happening. You see, because the World card, and then the Ace of Wands, and then the Ace of Swords, and then the Fool. Oh my God. Okay, I know what he's trying to say. Right, what he's trying to say is people are wise to the fact that the old systems no longer work. The world is the end of a cycle for the system. Okay, the system, let's just call it the system, the ruling elite, the way that the world has been governed, it's coming to an end. The cycle is completing. The world is about to move on to a completely new journey. Look at that. Anybody that understands the tarot, you can read those cards within seconds, okay? What's coming in after the completion of the cycle, a whole new world is coming in, and it's going to come in quicker than we think. The Fool is the energy of the new beginning. This is closing out a cycle. This is the new beginning that's coming in, and it's coming in with fire and air energy, okay? Ace of Wands, very quick. Ace of Swords is linked into clarity and truth. Michael Jackson, over the last year, people that are on my Facebook page linked to Michael Jackson, which is called MJ Lightwalkers. I'll put the description box below, put the link below. But you know that I had a vision over a year ago where Michael showed me the sword that was coming out of the ground, particularly linked into Hollywood. When the sword gets pulled out of the ground, and it's to do with all of the corruption, all of the abuse, all of the just disgustingness that's been happening there, manipulation and abuse of power. Everything will be revealed. Everything will be revealed, okay? And it will be revealed with the sword of truth. And when that day happens, then everybody starts to see the world through new eyes. Can I just say something on Michael's behalf here as well, folks? Because he showed me something earlier. I mean, he's very sort of, he's not at all egotistical or showy. So it's not like he's coming at me saying, oh, tell them this, tell them that, because it makes me look good. It's not that. It's almost like he lets it slip. And then it's like, oh, you know, then he realizes what it might sound like. He's just a beautiful mixture of, he's very unabashed. Is that the way to put it? Anyway, what he showed me was, we know, those of us in the Michael Jackson camp know that to counter Leaving Neverland, there is a counter film or documentary going to be made. I think Taj Jackson is leading the rallying call on that. So lots of light to Taj. And anyway, it hasn't been made yet, but it will be at some point, and it will answer all the claims in Leaving Neverland for, you know, to show the truth. If you don't know what the truth is, and you're still with me this far, I will put the link to Square One, which was a documentary made by Danny Wu that starts off the answer back from Leaving Neverland. But anyway, this other documentary that Taj wants to do is going to be big. And I don't believe it's in production yet. But what Michael showed me today, and this is really interesting, it's really interesting because think about Michael Jackson's life story, okay? Michael Jackson's life story is one of the biggest life stories of somebody who's lived on this planet, because he affected so many billions of people. And people do still love him. You know, lots of people don't, but lots of people still love him. Even in my little place in the UK, the local radio station over Bank Holiday weekend, you know, they do that countdown of best loved artists. Well, they did an icon of the top icon, basically top pop rock icon. And I think it was like 76,000 votes. Anyway, Michael came out number one. Okay, he's the number one icon. So his story is huge. What happened to him is huge. But what he's saying to me is that the story, when it truly comes out, the story of what they tried to do to him and how they tried to slander him and how they tried to stitch him up and how eventually they killed him will be an even bigger story than the story of his music. That doesn't mean that it surpasses his music, because his music is his legacy. He was just trying to make me see that what he showed me was all the headlines when Leaving Neverland came out, all the headlines that came out linked into him being what they said he was. I'm not going to say the word because then my video will get shadow banned. But what they said he was, you know, it was everywhere. You couldn't go past any newsstand without seeing his face, you know, years on from his death, being accused of what he was accused of. It was everywhere. It was on every TV show, radio station, people were talking about it. So we saw those headlines. I was shown the headlines that are going to come when people realise what actually transpired, and the people that tried to take him down and did take him down, and what he was actually trying to fight against, and the ones that were responsible ultimately for his death. And I'm being shown the headlines, and he's saying that's how fickle the media are. That's how fickle the media are, because the very people that slandered me and would have crucified me, basically, if they got the chance, will be the ones who are then writing about my redemption. And there will be no, they'll have no awareness of the irony of what they're doing, that on one hand you take and then on the other hand you give. But anyway, that's what I was shown. So yeah, this documentary, when it comes out, it's going to reveal the redemption as well, which is why there's maybe been a timing lag on it. That's what I got anyway today. Anyway, back to Michael and USA. So yes, we've got this new start coming in. What guidance do you have for people in the USA? They just got to go into their hearts, is what he's saying. They've got to go into their hearts. People have hardened their hearts, and people are protecting their hearts, barricading their hearts because they're hurt, they're confused, they don't know what's the truth. The heart is the place that will set you free. People have got to go back to their hearts. He's showing me there is going to be an event that is a big heart awakening moment for the States. And if I'm honest, it's feeling linked into environment. It feels as though it's linked into a geophysical event where people have to stop their fighting and bickering to actually help each other. He's very, it's almost like he doesn't want to look at the fighting and the bickering because he wants to look at the people who are making the difference and who are doing the loving. You know, the people who are genuinely trying to help. Yeah, exactly. He's got the vision. You see, he has the vision of where, this is him. He has the vision to try to help the people who are left out in the cold, the people who society shuns, the people who society thinks are worthless, the people who are left outside of this inner circle in here. He was always about the people. And the Hanged Man he's talking about the fact that there needs to be a change of consciousness within America. So, you know, the people sleeping in homeless tents and, you know, in poverty or just in desperate straits are actually welcomed back into the fold. It's going to take a huge shift in consciousness. It's going to take a lot of work, and at the moment it feels as though it's too much work. It's too much. Can't even envision that day would happen because it's just too much. It's too overwhelming. But help is coming. Help is coming. Truth is coming that will set people free. And then there's a new King of Wands energy. More than anything, I feel that is an energy linking into sovereignty of the people. People starting to realise that they are sovereign beings, and yeah, shooting out the arrows of change. He's saying my music was always to do with wanting to raise people's energy and raise the vibration. And he's got this big smile on his face because he knows people still are listening to his music, and they always are going to listen to his music. I don't know what song this came from. I don't think it's one of Michael's songs. I'm hearing the song, and the beat goes on, and the beat goes on. Who did that song? And the beat goes on. I'm just hearing that song, and the beat goes on. So, and the beat's getting louder and louder. So it's like the legacy of his music. The beat goes on is what I'm hearing. I'll see if I can find out who made that song. Right. Let's hear from... anything else to say about USA, Michael, before we move back to Diana? He's saying, oh, nose is going, that's always goes when it's a truth coming through, a big truth. He's saying it's the United States of America. United. At the moment, he's saying it's the disunited States of America. He's saying it has to go back to becoming the United States of America. And he's saying the only way that can happen is if people start to unite in their neighbourhoods, in their streets, in their families, and put down their differences. Right, let me just see. The beat goes on. Who did this one? The beat goes on. The beat goes on. Oh, Sonny and Cher, was it? Okay, it was Sonny and Cher. The beat goes on. Good song. Okay. Right, let's go back to Diana. Diana, what do you want to say about the current state of the world? She's saying, oh lordy, oh lordy. She's saying, keep your sense of humour, guys. That's important too. Yeah. Okay, current state of the world, Diana. People have lost contact with who they really are. And because they've lost contact with who they really are, they can't see who the other person is either. if the individual can't feel love for themselves, how can they feel love for anybody else? So it's an inner journey to rediscover love for yourself. Even if you've been wounded, even if you've been abused, even if you've been betrayed, even if you've been mocked, even if you're misunderstood, even if you have nothing, the work to change this planet revolves around the individual learning to truly value and love themselves. And she's repeating, because when you truly love and value yourself, you love and value another person. She's saying there's a lot of energy on this planet at the moment where other people just are very ready to dispose of others, dispose of other people's opinions, dispose of other people's legacies. She's saying with regard to Michael, looking at Michael, trying to rubbish his legacy. She's saying, I'm surprised they haven't had a go at mine. She said, I wouldn't put it past them. But it's to do with people not valuing themselves, so they can't value anything else or anybody. You have to learn to value yourself. You have to be sovereign in yourself. You have to find your own self-worth. And she said that's a life's journey. It's a life's work. Drawn to this card that I pulled with Michael last night, the Gaia card, the world. And it shows somebody who's in love with Mother Earth, who's in love with the world, who's in love with nature. So there's also an energy here linked into allow nature to be your teacher. See the beauty around you, because the more that you notice beauty and the more that you notice love, the more that you're going to be able to recognize it in yourself. Okay. Right, I'm going to ask a question now, which I know people want to know, linked into what you both knew regarding child trafficking and child abuse. And it's very clear, as I record this in September 2020, that now in the media, elite rings are being exposed that link into both of these two practices. We have high-profile court cases and people in custody linked to this, and a number of high-ranking names linked to these groups. Again, I don't want to say the names because otherwise the video might well get shadow banned, okay? But I think we all know what I'm talking about, okay? The lady currently in jail in the USA who was the partner of the other person who took their own life. That's what I'm talking about, that link, that group. So I'm going to ask both of them individually what they knew. Okay. Who wants to speak first? Michael. Okay, Michael's speaking up. Michael Jackson doesn't swear. I've never heard him swear. He's not swearing now, but the tone of his voice is, he's saying he knew and he was aware of the disgusting, and he's emphasising the word disgusting, activities and things that were done behind the scenes, shielded from public view by those at the very top. He's particularly talking about the music industry. And he's saying to me, be careful what you say, because some of these people are still alive and still in power and still in control and are very dangerous. He's saying it's a cesspit. It's a cesspit of deprivation and perversion. I'm being shown the snake here. So this beautiful image of the world, which is all full of beauty. The snake also can be obviously a positive symbol, but in this respect, vipers and snakes who prey on innocent children, who prey on the vulnerable, who prey on the deep dispossessed. I don't know how much I want to get into this. Who tout for business, who are into trophy hunting. The trophies are children. Who have trophies, hold trophies, own trophies. Who destroy lives. He's saying, voice is going, he's saying, I tried to speak out and they threw me to the wolves. Those are the very words I'm hearing. I tried to speak out and they threw me to the wolves. They destroyed me. I get the feeling he saw it at various points throughout his whole life because he was subject to the music industry his whole life. Some of it was rumour and speculation and gossip and hearsay. And then it became an irrefutable fact, proof. He's saying, I tried to balance out the darkness that I knew was existing and going on with goodness, and he's showing me Neverland. He's saying that's why they attacked Neverland. That's why they have destroyed Neverland. That's why they destroyed me. That it was, I'm being shown the scales. Darkness here and light here. He was trying to restore some balance. It wasn't enough to destroy me. They had to destroy the place as well. They had to destroy the memory. They had to destroy the legacy, and they will not stop until they are done. Diana's leaning over and like taking his arm like that. She's like putting her hand on his arm. And she's saying, they won't win, Michael, they won't win. And he's looking up and saying, I know. But it's like it weighs heavy on him. It does weigh heavy on him, what they've done to him, what they're continuing to do to him. I'm just going to step out of his energy for a moment and just say something as me, Amanda. His birthday was on the 29th last week. And I noticed on his birthday, they just will not let this guy rest. On his birthday, there were stories, certainly in the British media, linking to all sorts of dark and shady practices, supposedly, that he did. I didn't even bother to read it. It was like timed for his birthday. Because you can't, that's the point. It was like powers that were, realised that on his birthday, people get together and celebrate his life. Spike Lee did a brilliant, I don't know what he calls it, block party. I listened to some of it. It was great. It was really, really great. Just raising the vibration with music. Lots of people were there loving it. Can't have that. Can't have that. So what we'll do is we'll put stories out on his birthday. Who does that? Can you think of any other star where that happens? I can't. Can you think of any other star's birthday where every single year there has to be smears and accusations? So it's funny. I'm laughing because it's like I'm at the table with both of them now, and Diana's got one hand on his and I've got the other hand. He's like, it's okay, girls, it's okay. But it's because there's just this preciousness to his energy, and it's wrong what's been done to him when he was trying to help. But yes, he was aware, but his hands were tied, is what he was saying. He's saying Sony. He tried, yeah, I mean, this is all documented, I know, but he's just talking about the legal battle with Sony and trying to get out of their clutches is what he's just talking about, and the manipulation and the fight that he had with them. Not liking the energy of Sony, I have to say. He's saying, Amanda, there are so many of these big companies which are tainted by darkness when you get to the very centre. He said, but it will change, it will change. But anyway, did he know? Yes, he knew of the activities of some of these people, but he's saying his hands were tied. It's not like he was in the room when it was happening or anything like that. It was just he mixed in circles whereby everybody knows everybody else. And so you hear things. And sometimes you hear things to the degree where it becomes like, this isn't just gossip, this is actually really happening. Story after story after story. But he's saying more than anything, the proof was looking into somebody's eyes. And I don't want to even say whose eyes I'm seeing here. But he's showing me some of the people that were central to his downfall, let's put it that way. God, their energy's horrible. And he's saying I saw into their heart and I saw into their eyes and I could see what they were. I could see what they were. He said, that's the truth. You can just see who somebody is by looking into their eyes, looking into their soul, looking into their heart. He's saying at this point, thank you to my fans and my friends and my family for believing in me and being able to see into my heart and being able to see into my eyes and to see past the lies. He said, because the lies are very believable. The smoke screen is very thick. It takes a very in-tune soul to be able to see through all of that. He's actually saying to even want to see through all that. Because they make it believable. They make it sound as though it makes sense. Okay, Diana, what did you know? As I said, Diana, what do you know? This card was on the bottom of the deck. This straight away takes me to Highgrove, which is the home that she shared with Prince Charles. She's saying people visited Highgrove. What's just fallen off? The Empress just fallen off. That fell off as I was talking about that. This is probably bloody Jimmy Savile, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you know, Prince Charles was friends with Jimmy Savile. One of the most worst documented you-know-whats, won't say the word. Certainly here in the UK. And again, you see, they cover their tracks very well. She's saying what you see as good often isn't. What you see is often the reverse of what it is. So she's saying, for example, like with Michael, he's been painted this way, that he's that, whereas actually he isn't. He's the complete opposite. He was a defender of children, not a perverter of children. Somebody like Jimmy Savile, when he was alive, he was deemed a complete saviour of kids. When he died, guys, I mean, you know, it's interesting from a historical perspective here because I'm from the UK. I grew up with Jimmy Savile. I used to watch Jim Will Fix It every week. I used to enjoy the TV show. He was always a bit weird and wacky and a bit odd, to be perfectly honest. But he raised millions for charity, millions and millions of pounds for charity. And when he died, he used to live in Leeds, I think, which is quite near my hometown where I used to live as well. I remember writing on my Facebook page, rest in peace, Jimmy Savile. People were lining the streets to say goodbye to him as his coffin went by. He was given around Leeds Centre, people, a little parade in honour of Jimmy Savile. People were really upset when he died. And then it all came out that he was just this monster. He was a complete monster. He wasn't what he was presented as. He was the opposite. So she's saying often how people are presented, they're the opposite of what they are. She said, it's the oldest trick in the book, Amanda. Okay. She said, of course, it doesn't mean that everybody that's good is bad or everybody that's bad is good. But she's saying sometimes the people that are very high profile, you know, you need to look at that. Bella's barking in agreement. Sorry, let me just concentrate. So yeah, this is her at Highgrove. This looks like her at Highgrove. What did she know? She knew it was she was on to Jimmy Savile. She was on to Jimmy Savile. What do you want to say about Jimmy Savile, Diana? She said, oh, do I have to go there? She's saying he revolted me. She's just shuddering. She's shuddering. She's saying, it's like what Michael was saying. She said, you can see who somebody is a lot of the time. She said, now, of course, she actually met him in the physical flesh. I never met him in the physical flesh. I just saw him through a TV screen. And again, I was believing what was in the media about him. Okay, that's the whole point. She met him in the flesh. She said, I shook his hand. She said, I never wanted him anywhere near my boys. She said, I never understood the friendship. She said, I do now. Now, again, I'm going to step out of her energy for a moment and speak as Amanda. I do know that within the last month or so, that Anonymous, the hacking group Anonymous, released something, I think probably within the last few weeks or so, where they've basically said that, again, this is just what they're saying. It's not necessarily, it's just what they're saying. They are basically saying that Princess Diana was on to Jimmy Savile, and in the weeks or months before she died, was visiting many of the hospitals where Jimmy Savile was preying on victims. Okay? Because he went to these hospitals and abused these kids. It's horrible, but it's what he did. So she was also there trying to mop up the mess, or to send a protective energy in, or just trying to do good. I mean, she's saying, okay, she's showing me herself trying to do good with this whole subject, this whole area of life, child abuse and all the rest of it. And she's just shown me this huge mountain in front of her. And she's got a little pickaxe. She's in front of this mountain with a little pickaxe. And she was saying, I was like trying to chip away at it with it's not even a pickaxe, Amanda. She's saying like a fork, you know. This mountain was just enormous. She said, I didn't even know where to start. She said, I didn't know who I could trust. I didn't know who would believe me. She says, I was increasingly being painted towards the end of my life as slightly unhinged. I'm just going to put some more incense on. And they were painting me a certain way. Who would have believed me? She says, I couldn't have done an Andrew Morton style interview again on this subject. She said that would have not been allowed. I wouldn't have got away with that. She says the aristocracy is rife with it. And she's wanting to put it in a wider term rather than just royal family. I mean, we've already got Prince Andrew up to his neck in it. We know that. There may well be others, but she's talking about the British aristocratic tier. She says it's she says it in some quarters it's just accepted. This goes on. She's talking about dormitories at private schools as well. Boys' dormitories in private schools. And these masters that prey on them. She says people know this, and it's... Yeah, they know this. These people are protected. She says it's endemic, it's everywhere. Okay, darling, let's have some cards. Give us some guidance on, hopefully, justice for all of this. Okay, her and Michael are chatting together now, and they're talking about Jimmy Savile. They're like, how could he have done that? I'm being shown an image of Diana sitting beside a child's bed, an ill child, a recovering child, a child with cancer. And it's like, how could he do that? And Michael, I'm being shown Michael beside children's beds. How could he do that? Savile, you know, children that are ill. He went into hospitals where children were ill or recovering, and he abused them. The Lovers card came out. Look at the mountain there. Oh, that's interesting. Man and woman. This almost feels like Diana and Michael, male and female, joined hands. I know it's that supposed to be Adam and Eve, but it's just my interpretation of the card. Joining hands. The apple. The snake at the bottom. Working together. To try and bring back an energy of more innocence to the world. The sword above. Justice, the sword. Okay, Dana, what do you want to say with regard to the subject on child abuse? Oh God, I've got that card out again, the Emperor. Yeah, it's just confirming what we know. This is the ruling elite. What do you want to say about it? What do you want to say about it, Diana, please? What message do you have with regard to this subject? Ace of Swords, same card came out. Truth's going to come out. But it's going to require teamwork and people working together. I'm wanting to say this is a youth movement. This is a fresh energy coming into our planet that is able to get to grips with it, deal with it, heal it. Teamwork coming in. Fresh, youthful, young energy coming in. It may even be some of the kids that have been abused or trafficked. You know, there's some of them that come together it's like they have a combined voice, I want to say. They have a combined voice. It's all out in the open now. It's all out in the open. People are starting to realise and wake up to what's been happening. The abuse of children in our society by this elite group. But I'm also wanting to say about the abuse that goes on in the family home. You know, it's not just this elite group, but she's saying, oh, it's interesting. She's saying it's all linked, it's all tied together. This elite group are getting away with it, okay? But so too are people in the street. What she means by that is it's hidden in the home just as much as it's been hidden in the upper echelons of society, in what you want to call an elite group, okay? So we're looking at that elite group and thinking, oh, how disgusting. And we need to heal that, and it needs to come up, and we need to hear who's done it and whatever. We need to hear from the victims. This needs to stop. But she's saying it's also happening at grassroots level, and that's just as hidden, and no one's talking about that. So it's all got to come up. But she's saying what's happening at the top of society is a reflection of as what's happening at the bottom of, well, not bottom, but, you know, as above, so below. So the fact that it's hidden at grassroots level within just families and streets and towns where you live, maybe it's happened to you and you weren't able to talk about it or nobody believed you, okay? Because it's been, society has wanted just to hush it up, cover it up. We don't talk about that type of thing. That's why these people have got away with it as well. What happens above is a reflection of what happens below. It's all got to be healed. It's all got to be healed. Okay, I'm just going to pause the camera for one moment and go and get some water, and then I'm going to come back and wrap up this session. Okay, hold on. Okay, so just going to wind up this video. I wanted just to mention a beautiful song by Michael Jackson called The Lost Children. Any fan is going to know that, but those of you that don't know the song, it's absolutely stunning. The lyrics go, we pray for our fathers, pray for our mothers, wishing our families well. We sing songs for the wishing of those who are kissing, but not for the missing. So this one's for all the lost children. This one's for all the lost children, wishing them well and wishing them home. Home with their fathers, snug, close and warm, loving their mothers. I see the door wide open. So pray for all the lost children. Let's pray for all the lost children. Just think of all the lost children, wishing them well and wishing them home. It's a stunning song. I think it's one of my favourite songs of his, actually. And there's an obvious message in there, isn't there? You know, over and above me or anybody else sitting here talking about Michael, channeling Michael, it's all there in his songs if you wish to look at it, okay? His message of what he was trying to convey is all there in his songs. And I think what we have to do is we have to remember that everything that's wrong in our world, everything that needs to come up for healing is going to come up for healing. And we also have to trust spirit to be able to steer the ship, and the ship is humanity through these times as things are revealed and uncovered, and that people like Diana and Michael basically came to the earth and did their bit to try to, you know, be the whistleblower or help in any way that they could. But, you know, we are now the ones who are left here on earth, and it's for us to be doing our part as well. And I do think it starts from the grassroots. It's about trying to help, you know, anybody that's been abused or neglected. Neglect is a huge subject as well. Child neglect, child poverty, you know, that's where we can make a difference, each of us, okay? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to end just by asking them a little bit more about their connection, okay? And I just pulled two cards out, and I got these two cards which sort of say it all to me. So there is a genuine love and affection for each other, the Two of Cups. But also we've got the Three of Swords. So I feel as though both of them are saying that they were betrayed by people that they trusted through their life. Michael's still being betrayed in death through people that he tried to help. And so they, again, it's this thing about finding solace in each other. They seem to find solace in each other. Let's just have some final messages then. I'm going to use these cards now again. Let's have a card from Diana. Let's just see anything else that you want to say, Diana, in this video. Which could be about anything else or something we've already discussed. Princess Diana, 1st of September. Any other message that you have for us, please? The Strength card and the Ace of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. She's saying you have to have strength and believe in the vision of the new world that we're trying to create. And she's saying we, us in spirit and you down on earth, as above, so below. The Ace of Pentacles is grounded, a grounded new reality. The offer of a grounded new reality, if enough wish to take it, to to manifest this. Okay, but yeah, we've got the lion. We've got the energy of the lion. Draw on your own strength. You see, look at that. It's the mountain again. That's the mountain. She's basically saying together we are strong. Together we can all have the lion's strength to be able to tackle the mountain in the distance. What she felt that she couldn't. Well, it wasn't her destiny anyway. It wasn't part of her soul contract to come in and blow the whistle on everything, and she didn't have the wherewithal. She would not have had the support. Her death as well was partly because of this as well. The fact that she was finding out things, she did want to speak up more and more, and she's saying they thought I was a loose cannon in that respect. So she was absolutely taken out. They were both taken out, okay, for trying to speak up and stand up for what is right in our world. So the mountain for both of them was just too big to climb alone. But yet together, she's saying, we can have the strength of a lion. Look how big the lion and us are compared to the mountain in the distance. That feels just like very easy to navigate and be able to triumph over. Good versus evil. Good triumphing over evil. Okay, let's just pull a couple of cards from Michael. Any other message, Michael, please? Any other message, please, Michael? People are very out of alignment with their spirit, he's saying. He's really just wanting me to just slow down and to tell us to slow down and breathe and enjoy the time that you have here, and that aligning to the energy of love and light is hugely important. What message do you have for us, Michael? Going to get 3. Yeah, he's all for the people that are impoverished and, you know, needing help. He's the true humanitarian. We've got this card again. The people who are shunned. Hard work. 10 of Wands. It's all too much. Because look at these people. This to me is the card of greed. You know, it's the greedy person wanting to eat even more, whilst these people are out in the cold. It's just hard work at the moment. Hard work. He's appreciating how we're all feeling. But then we've got the Page of Swords again on the top of the pile, you know? And then we've got Judgment. Interesting. And then we've got the 3 of Pentacles, which is the creation of something new, a better masterpiece coming in, something more equal for society. Man standing back from the new creation that they manifest, and it's better, but it comes after the Judgment call. Comes after the sword. Back to the sword. It's all about the sword of truth coming down. Who wields the sword of truth? Do you wield the sword of truth? Okay, do you believe in the sword of truth? Because look at that. That's where we are at the moment as a species. It's like we're just tired. It's overwhelming. This guy doesn't feel overwhelmed, do they? This is youthful vigour to create the judgment that brings in the new earth. Let's have a final message from both of them together. Final message from both of them together. Diana and Michael together. 1 card, please. Parting shot. Oh, Diana and Michael together. I mean, come on. How beautiful is that? Parting shot. I was thinking, wonder what the card's going to be. And look at that on the bottom of the pack. Oh my goodness. 6 of Cups, children, childhood, male and female. That's them. They're helping to try to co-create this new world. They've got the vision. They're absolutely still working from the higher realms to try and bring this about. Making peace with the past. Reconciling. Healing. Children. Children. Oh. And then we've got the Empress as well. The divine feminine energy. And then we've got the Ten of Cups. This is the true happy family. This is humanity finally being at peace with itself. And everybody's around the fire. The older people, the younger people, the children, the animals. This is New Earth. This is fifth dimensional energy and beyond. It comes in on the back of the divine feminine. These two are both working for that. The advent of the divine feminine energy. They both embodied it. How beautiful. Let's say thank you and goodbye to both of them. Let's just see how they want to exit, as it were. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. They're walking off hand in hand. Michael's looking back. Oh, it's so funny. He's got a sense of humour. You know, Thriller, when he walks off with the girl at the end. And he gives that little look, and then he's got the funny eyes. He's just being funny. He's just being silly. He's walking off with the girl. Okay. He's got a cheeky smile on his face. He's just looking back. That's so sweet. Their two inner childs, you know, his inner child and her inner child love each other. They're like childhood sweethearts. They really are. It's so, so sweet. That's why I said it's cute. Because I completely appreciate they're grown-up people, you know, and cute can almost be a sort of like I don't know, it's a bit of a fat and a naff thing to say, but it's like I'm seeing it's like their inner child is just, they're loving each other's company. They're really comfortable with each other. Okay, so where are they going off to? Let's just see what they're going to each be going to do. I don't know. They are separating as they go off. It's like they come and they join forces, and then Diana's going off to the left, Michael's going off to the right. They've just both got work to do. They've both got work to do. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Much love. Happy Piscean full moon. And I'll be back soon. I'm going to do a reading for September. Might try and do that today or tomorrow. See how my energy levels go. Bye-bye for now. See ya.